Daddy wants you to finish so that I can say, have you seen my son, Dr. Timothy? And my dad used to teach me. I can't forget the question that gets me beaten all the time. He will say, what is the y dx of a constant? I know it all, but because he's holding a cane and asking me that question, I will just say it's 1, or I will say it's 3, or I'll keep quiet. In one of those times when he asked me a question, maybe what is the y dx of a constant, and I said maybe it's 5, and he paused and he made some very deep statements. He was like, noticed you. I just average in math. You're not very great in physics. You're struggling with further maths. And I'm just wondering, how are you going to succeed, as an engineer? Whose idea was it to be an engineer? His own idea. Fast forward to today, I'm a tech copywriter. And if I tell you how much I earn a month, I'm having the best time of my life. Today, I bring you another beautiful episode of Young Folks Ask. So young people are always asking a whole lot of questions, and they're wondering where to get the best answers to the burning questions they have. And over time, Google is not doing justice. Elders are not doing justice these days, especially Gen Zs, have burning questions that they want a comprehensive, holistic answer to. And they have been struggling to find, even their colleagues, their fellow, Gen Zs or millennials don't have a comprehensive answer to these burning questions. So I'm putting myself forward, to first of all research these frequently asked questions by young people, and then do further research to give you an all-encompassing, a holistic response to your burning questions, such that by the time you are done watching this broadcast, you would go, about resolving those questions with a lot of wisdom and insight. Okay, so without further ado, let's go into today's topic in the series Young Folks Ask. What do I do if what I want to study differs from what my parents want? If you see me looking left, that's because I'm looking at my notes to make sure that I give you a comprehensive response. I make sure that I cross all the T's and dot the I's, make sure that nothing is missing in my outline here, so you can get the best value from this broadcast. So young people ask, what do I do if what I want to study is different from what my parents want? This is a tough one, but I'm sure we will crush it. I'm sure you're rooting for me. We're going to crush it. So seriously now, what do you do when you want to do A, maybe a study? You want to study A? You want to study agriculture? Well, usually young people don't want to study agriculture. You want to study computer science, and your parents or guardian wants you to study medicine. So what do you do in such a dilemma, in such a situation? Well, before I go into what you should do, let's consider briefly the things that young people usually do, how they react when they are faced with this situation. How do they usually react? One, young people, they do it anyway. If you know a little about Gen Zs are, very stubborn. If they want to do something, they do it anyway. They don't care whose ox is God. They don't mind what the parents think. They're like, look, this is what I want to do, and that's exactly what I want to do, and I don't give a damn about what you think, dad or mom. I don't know whether Gen Zs with African parents do that, but I mean, you know what I'm talking about. So they do it anyway. So let's say, for example, they want to study computer science, or they want to study computer science. It still makes sense to our parents. Let's talk about something as funny as music. They want to study music, and then their parents want them to study engineering or law or medicine. So what is another thing that young people usually do when they're upfront with this situation? They run from home. So because usually when parents find out that what you're studying or what you want to do is different from what they want you to do, they start close monitoring you. They come into your room unannounced, check your notes, check what you are doing. If they see you with any headphone, they know, oh, this boy is trying to still do this music despite my warning. They try to make life difficult for you. In a way, they're not doing it because they hate you. They're doing it because they think they know what they want for you. And you think you know what you want for yourself. So because of this dichotomy, there is war in the house, cold war in the house, where you are hiding to do the things you really want to do. So, and then when it has gotten to here and you're like, see, I can't take this anymore, I'm depressed, I'm this, I'm that, you just run away from home and maybe go stay with another Gen Z or another young person who has been able to carve a home for himself away from parents, right? So that's the second thing that young people do when they are faced with a situation like this. And the third thing that they do is they give in to pressure, they give in to their parents. Well, after they have tried everything, they've tried to do it their own way and their parents have frustrated them, they've tried to run away from home and the parents comes back to get them, or maybe they start suffering, no allowance, no pocket money, and then maybe the friend also says, look, it's either you start contributing in this house or you go back to your parents. You've all been there, right? So and then they eventually give in. When they have looked left, right, nobody's supporting them, they're just like, okay, fine, you want me to study medicine, right? Medicine it is, and that's it. So they just give in, and then they live a life of an unfulfilling life because they are doing their parents' bidding, and the parent didn't even take the time to find out what exactly is this child of mine, this daughter of mine, this son of mine, what's he or she supposed to be doing. They don't think about that most times, and it's a problem. Okay, so eventually they give in. Some people give in, some people, they break through nonetheless, right? So unfortunately, all of the above won't work. So whether you try to do it your own way, or you run from home, or you give in, those are not solutions to this critical problem. And what is this problem? You want to do A and your parents want you to do B. So what should you do? Well, I've put together some 5 things to do when you are face to face with a problem, and it's a very serious problem, especially in Africa. It's particularly in Nigeria. It's a very serious problem. It happens all the time. So when you are face to face with this kind of challenge where you want to study music, for example, and then your parents want you to study medicine, so what do? 5 things. 1, give it some time. So usually in the heat of the moment where, I want to study music, dad, and your dad is like, not, my son will not study any music. No child of mine is going to study music. I don't care whether you have a passion. You can do it as a hobby, but you need to go and take that jam and study for medicine. You have to do physics, chemistry, biology in your jam. When they start talking like that and the whole house is heated, and then your dad bangs the door and goes to the office, if I come back and you are still on this music stuff, I'm going to disown you. So when all of this is going on, even though this potential solution does not sound like the natural thing you would do, just give it some time. Give it some time. So when you want to do music, for example, and your dad wants or mom wants you to do, or your parent wants you to do medicine, just back off. Pretend as if you are hearing, you are listening to them, pretend as if you are giving in to them, and just give it some time. So let's say you had this discussion in September, and then your dad is not having it, your mom is trying to persuade your dad, yada yada yada. What you should do is just say, okay, if you want me to study medicine, no problem, and then just give in. So maybe you made this decision in September. Maybe by December, or you look for a time when dad is happy, or when mommy can better convince daddy, assuming mom is not joining daddy in that decision for you to study medicine, and then you can reintroduce the matter again at a better time. So there's something with time. With time, your parents might reconsider and be like, okay, he didn't come at us when we forced him to do medicine. For him to be bringing this up again after 3 months or 6 months, I think we should take another look. Let's even ask him a few questions about this music thing. That might happen, and then from there, conversations might lead to solutions. Well, if that doesn't work, then let's look at number 2. What is the number 2 thing to do when you want to study music, for example, and your dad wants you to study medicine? Prove yourself. This is harder than the first one. Prove yourself. So when giving it time doesn't work, the next thing you need to do is prove yourself. How do you prove yourself? Let's use the example of music. You're really good at, you have a passion for the music craft. Maybe you want to be a music producer, right? And then your parents are not having it. What you need to do next, after you've given it time and it's still not being resolved, is to prove yourself. How do you do that? Find a way to get a mentor, somebody in the music space. Talk to this person behind your parents' back. Go for lessons, or go for apprenticeship, or go for some form of learning through this person. If the person is charging you for money, save up, save some of your pocket money or some of the gifts your parents or your parents' friends give to you, and then just show to the person. Maybe the person is saying, bring 50,000 for me to teach you. You can say, okay, all I have is 10,000, but I'm really passionate. Please, can you help me, brother, uncle, whoever? And then you can persuade them, and if they see your passion, they might take it and decide to, disciple you, school you, bring you into some apprenticeship. While you are there, they might send you on errands, to justify for the other 40,000 or 90,000 that you're not paying. Do it. Do everything you need to be able to get, sharpen that skill, sharpen that music talent to a point where you can do maybe like a demo. You can do like a demo. It might take you 1 year, it might take you any number of time, get something like a demo. So when you get a demo, you look for a good time when daddy is in a good mood, mommy is in a good mood, good vibes everywhere. And then you say, I found this music, and dad or mom, can you play? Oh, you start with mom. Mom, I found this music is really nice. So it's something you would like. Can you listen to it? And then you play it. Maybe nowadays you don't need to do CD, so it's probably already in MP4, MP3 format. You just put the earpiece in your mother's ears and play the music. Now it's been this music now has been, what's the word they use? This music producer, it's been mastered. This music is mastered. It's not the ta-ta-ta that you're doing in the bathroom or in your boys' quarters. No, this one has been mastered. Beats and the likes have been put into it to make it more refined. So when you make it available to your mom might just listen to it and be like, wow, this is really nice. Who sang this? Because usually they will not recognize who because of the mastering of the music. And you'll be like, Mom, do you know that this song that you like, I'm the one that sang it. I'm the one that actually made it. I was able to meet a music producer. I was able to pay some money. I was able to do some time with him, run errands, and then now I came up with this as a sample to prove to you, keyword, to prove to you that I'm really serious with this thing. If you guys will just invest in me, believe in me, just try me out. Please help me talk to dad. So if your mom sees something like a product, a demo, she might be convinced that I think we should give this my son or daughter a chance, and then she will know how to talk to daddy in the bedroom and convince him and all that. Now, if that will not work, you've tried giving it some time, it's not working out, you've tried to do a demo. I'm using music as an example, it can be anything, right? You try to do a demo, it's not working out, that is still adamant, stiff-necked. Then we go to number 3. What is the third thing you can do to convince your parents to let you do you? Number 3 is present a win-win solution. What do I mean by a win-win solution? Okay, daddy wants you to study medicine. You want to do music. Maybe the problem has been that you want to do you, daddy wants you to do him. How about a compromise where you say, okay, dad, I want to talk to you. Man to man. I want to talk to you. And then daddy's like, I'm listening. And you're like, okay, fine. I know you want the best for me. I know you want me to do medicine. I know you love me. I know you're ready to support me all the way. I know all these things that you are doing, saying I must study medicine, is all for my own good. Just, say some things to make his head swell. I know, in fact, all your sacrifices, yada, yada, yada. You know the things. You know how to press his momo buttons. Tell him everything and anything that will make his head swell. And when his head is swelling, you now say, okay, dad, please, can we come to some form of compromise? I'm going to pick up the JAMB form. I'm going to fill in medicine. I'm going to do medicine. I'm going to do what you want me to do because I believe you want the best for me. But can we come to some form of agreement that while I am pursuing my medical career, on the side, I'm going to also do music as a hobby. Just tell me it's a hobby. I'm going to do it as a hobby. So there's this place I'm going to, there's this producer that is helping me learn the ropes. So when I'm not studying medicine, or when I'm on holidays, or when I have a free time, I will go to him. And of course, there are some fees to pay. Please, if you will help me pay the fees and everything, I promise, if I am happy with my music hobby, that happiness will spiral into my medical, my medical career, and you will see the A's and B's. So can we come to some form of agreement that I really would love it if you can? I will go for the medicine, I will do medicine, but let me do this music as a hobby, and please promise that you will support me. Most often than not, this third approach would work. Daddy will be like, okay, I want him to do medicine. Maybe daddy wants you to finish so that I can say, have you seen my son? Have you seen my son, Dr. Timothy? Yeah. Or my medical student, have you seen my son? He's a medical student, he's in Patri now. Maybe that's all that is just about. And he's ready to spend the last couple to make that dream come true. He's like, okay, I'm still going to be able to brag about my son as a medical doctor in view. Okay, so he also he wants to still do music on the side. It's a hobby. Eventually when he goes and does that medicine, he'll be too tired and too exhausted to even do that music. Okay, let me pretend like I'm going to support him. Let me just, let me let him, children of nowadays, let me let him do him so that he can do me. So most often than not, this third trick works. Most often than not. But just in case you have done these three things, you even say, let's come to a compromise, that, and dad is not having it. What a dad. What you need to do next is, let's go. Number 4, get someone they respect on your side. Get someone they respect on your side. Sometimes your dad will listen to your mom, and your mom is able to change your dad's mind. Oftentimes that doesn't work out because that is just adamant. You look for a friend. You should have studied and observed your dad. Who does your dad listen to? Is he his pastor? Is he his colleague at work? Is he his boss? Is he someone? Is it someone? Is he a relative? Is he an uncle? Find somebody that he respects. He will make conversations at home in such a way that you will know those he respects. Anything that comes from them is law. So find 1 or 2 of those people, go to them. Of course, the first thing you have to do is also convince that person using 1, 2, 3. Give it some time, prove yourself, present a win-win solution. Now you already have 3 things you're going to take to this person. I gave it time, dad wasn't having it. I proved myself with this demo, sir, that or ma, dad wasn't having it. I even told dad that I would do this medicine and let me do music on the side like a hobby. Dad is not having it. When you speak like that to this person, most likely they will be like, okay, I'll talk to dad on your behalf. And then of course they go ahead and find time to talk to your dad. Usually this works because you've been breaking his barriers, you've been breaking that barrier, that defense. So it's already probably not as stiff-necked as in the beginning. So his mind is 50-50 or 70-30. He's like, okay, this boy. So when someone he trusts and respects talks to him man to man or woman to man, whatever, he might like, okay, maybe because of this person, but it doesn't look like I'm just too troublesome, let me let him do it. But in case you do that and at the end of the day, daddy is still like, you mean you went to Mr. So-so-so or Mrs. So-so-so to report me? You did that? You're grounded. Assuming he does that, then we come to the final solution. This one, it will always work, and I will explain how. This one will work, but it's a conditioner. It will work with a condition. What is this number 5? When you have done, given it some time, proven yourself, presented a win-win situation, gotten someone they respect on your side to speak to them, and they are still not having it, whether mother or father or both, you do this 5. And it's a shocking one. I'm sure you're not expecting this. What do? Pray. I'm sure you're expecting to hear some amazing, like, okay, do 2-3-1 code. No, pray about it. And when you are praying, this is how you should pray. Pray for favor to prove your choice. Now, pray for favor to prove your choice. It might be that even God is not interested in you studying music. It might be that God wants you to go and do medicine. So get God on your side and be like, God, this passion I have, is it from you? Did you put it in me from birth? Or maybe somebody else is just maybe the devil is just trying to derail me from my main purpose. then you pray. You go to God and say, God, please, I've tried everything. I've tried, giving it this thing some time. I've tried proving myself to my parents. I've tried presenting a win-win situation. I've even gotten someone that my parents respect to speak to them. They are not having it. God, you created both me and these parents. So if you really want me to do this music, if this passion of mine is coming right from you, you're the one that put this passion in me, then prove it with favor. So when you surrender to God like that and you pray to him, and of course, before you can pray to God, you have to have some form of relationship with him, right? So settle that part, then pray to him and tell him that let him prove this with favor. If that is the direction that God wants you to go, believe you me, that never fails. If what you want to do is in alignment with what God wants you to do at that time, and you seek his face concerning it, forget it. It's going to work. One way or the other, something will happen somewhere, and then you will have your way. That's if it's God's way. Okay, so since I've given you these nuggets, please go back and rewatch if you feel that you didn't catch the key points. Write down the key points and apply it. The most important is not for you to hear what all I've shared, it's for you to apply it step by step, and then you come back with testimonies. Okay, as I normally do, what is the Bible reference that is giving me this confidence that when you apply these principles, these ideas of mine, that they would work? I'm getting my reference from Proverbs 16:7. That's where I get my wisdom. If this is the first time you are watching this broadcast, I get my wisdom from the Bible. I am unapologetic about that. If the words that are coming out of my mouth sounds like wisdom to you, and the source of wisdom is scripture for me. That's for me. So Proverbs 16:7 KJV says, when a man's ways please the Lord, what does he do? He maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. Did you catch that? I'll take that again. Proverbs 16:17 KJV says, when a man's ways please the Lord. If your ways please the Lord, if your choice pleases God, if your decision pleases God, if your action steps pleases God, what would God do in return? He maketh even his enemies. He maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. He maketh even his enemies. Your parents are not even your enemies, right? They want the best for you. They might be going about it the wrong way, but believe you me when I tell you that your parents usually are not your enemies, right? So if God will make even your enemies to be at peace with you, if your ways or your decision or your next action pleases him, how much more your parents that ordinarily they love you, right? So that is the Bible verse, to strengthen you, to inspire you, to give you confidence to follow these steps I have explained, especially the last one. Pray for favor to prove that choice. If God is leading you in that direction, he will make a way in such a way that your parents will come into agreement with your choice. Now, this verse highlights the importance. I made a note, I want to read that to you. This verse highlights the importance of aligning one's actions with God's will. That's what I just told you. This verse highlights the importance of aligning. There has to be an alignment. Aligning God's actions, aligning one's actions with God's will. Your actions and God's will must be one and the same if you want to experience favor. Suggesting that when you do so, that's your actions are now aligned with God's will. When you do that, what happens? God can make even your adversaries, even those who don't like you, even those who are looking for your downfall, to be at peace with you. Peace means agreement. They agree with your ideas, they agree with your next steps, they agree with your actions, and that is how you get ahead in life. I'm not going to leave you without sharing a personal experience. If you have watched my previous videos, I've mentioned one or twice that I'm a tech copywriter, and the journey to being a writer is a long one. I wrote a book where I spoke about, one of the chapters of the book is my conversations with my dad, something like that. So in that book, I think it's the book I wrote, The Greener Pastures Movement. You can ask me for it in the comment section, and then I might just send you a free e-copy. So in that book, I had a conversation with my dad. My dad used to teach me, let me speak for myself. He used to teach me math, physics, chemistry, to help me prepare for WAEC, to help me prepare for JAMB back in the days where he was still alive. And usually his teaching method is his teaching methods, as far as I'm concerned, is terrible, in the sense that instead of teaching me in love, he teaches me with a koboko, with a stick ready to beat me if I get a question wrong. So sometimes I can't forget the question that gets me beaten all the time. He will say, when he's teaching me further maths, he will say, what is the y dx of a constant? Now the y dx of a constant till now, how many years later, maybe 20, 30 years later, I still remember that the y dx of a constant is 0. But I know it too. But because he's holding a cane and asking me that question, I will just say it's 1. I will say it's 3. I will say or I'll keep quiet, because I don't know whatever I will say that will trigger this beating. And whatever I say usually is wrong, and then he will beat me. So it was pumping fear into me, and that wasn't a way to impart knowledge. Imagine now I'm holding a koboko to impart this knowledge on you. I mean, it's a terrible, archaic way to teach, right? So in one of those times when he asked me a question, maybe what is the y dx of a constant, and I said maybe it's 5. He paused. Instead of beating me again, he paused and he made some very deep statements. He was like, I've noticed you, that you're not like your brother. Your brother very smart in math, very good in physics and chemistry, doing so well, but you are different in the sense that you are just average in math. You're not very great in physics. You're struggling with further maths, and I'm just wondering how you're going to succeed, as an engineer. Whose idea was it to be an engineer? His own idea. He was a chemical engineer with NMPC, and he was grooming me to take over. Or, in fact, he wasn't grooming me to be an engineer. He was grooming me to be a doctor. He had this dream that in one of those times when he goes abroad, he's going to get medical equipment, set up a 3-bedroom flat as like a clinic for us. We'll put it in his name, Ola Memorial Clinic. My sister will be a nurse, the 3 brothers will be doctors, and then he wanted all of us to be doctors. He didn't want me to be an engineer. It was like engineer would be like the second plan B if this main one of being a medical doctor fails. And then he was on and on about all of that. And to cut long story short, he made a statement. He said, the only place I see you excelling is in English. And I'm wondering, English in today's age does not fetch you anything serious. Do you want to be a school teacher? Do you want to be maybe at most an English teacher in the University of Polytechnic? You're not going to be a high flyer with this English that you're scoring without trying. You just score A everywhere, but when it comes to math and physics, you're average. Well, fast forward to today. I wasn't even trying to convince him, because my dad was unconvincible. That was a thing. But I think because God already knew what I would become, and that writing was going to be a big part of what I'm going to become by writing books, by virtue of what he has called me to do. Usually good writers are good speakers, or not, but at least in my case, I can speak well and I can write well. So communication was a big deal to my purpose. God made me to excel better in those than the technical engineering stuff. And today I'm a tech copywriter, and if I tell you how much I earn a month, I wish my dad was alive to see it. I'm enjoying the kind of freedom that engineers and doctors and lawyers don't enjoy, and I'm having the best time of my life, because God eventually aligned what I wanted to do, aligned with what God wanted for my life, and I'm here today with a testimony. So that's my real life story, So we've come to the end of this session. I hope you enjoyed it. Now go to the comment section and share your own experience and how you succeeded against all odds. What did you want to study that was different from what your dad wanted or parents wanted you to study? How were you able to navigate in such a way that today you are doing exactly what you wanted to do, right? Come to the comment section and share your story, share your experience, share tips. And the best comment, as usual, get a surprise gift, which will be announced on our Telegram group. We have a Telegram link in the description. Click it and you'll be able to join the Telegram group where winners will be announced, as well as updates that will be given to you about more videos and anything else we are doing in Green Area. And then if you learned a lot from this, imagine what the Green Mentorship Program is about. There's a link in the description for you to sign up to the Green Mentorship Program coming up December 31st. It's free for the first 500 who sign in. I am going to be your teacher. December 31st, I'll be turning 40, and this is my give back, gift to you. So I will implore you to please subscribe to this channel. What did they say again? Share, like, comment. Somebody needs to hear this. Share to them. And what do I say at the end of every broadcast? See you in Green Area. God bless you. Bye.